All right, guys, welcome back to week 2 of 6th grade social studies. We are going to get started with prehistory. So let's go over our agenda for Wednesday and Thursday, okay? So the learning target, the skills that you're going to be able to do by the end of this lesson. I can compare how human and environmental characteristics of a region influence the movement of people, goods, and ideas during the rise of the river valley civilizations and classical empires between 3500 and 600. Basically, we're talking about the 5 themes of geography in the river valley civilization. We are also going to look at how population changes in that area and how that affected the land use. Then our last I can statement is I can analyze the causes and effects of the rise of the River Valley civilization. Basically, how and why did the River Valley civilization kind of flourish?
All right, the bell worked. So what I want you to do again is pause the video and think of this question. What are the top 3 words, 1, 2, 3, that come to mind when you hear the word prehistory? So go ahead and pause the video. 3 words that come to mind when you hear prehistory. All right, welcome back. So what are some things that come to mind? Ms. Atala, what are some things that come to mind when you think of prehistory?
When I think of history, I think of things that happened in the past. So I think of just the word past.
All right, and I think of also even farther past than what she thinks of.
All right, so the instruction. We are going to go through our slideshow, and you are going to have guided notes that you're going to fill out. Mr. Simpson is going to tell you more about those because he actually created those. He is the mastermind behind the creation.
That would be me. Then we're going to again have some comprehension questions, but last week on both teams, we had a little bit of an issue of you all watching this video, and if you didn't watch last week's video, you're saying, how do I know you didn't watch last week's video?
Because
so we're going to do, go ahead and stop.
We know that you don't watch the videos if first you say you totally don't understand what we did, and then we say, did you watch the video? And you said no. That's a pretty clear indicator if you say you didn't watch it and you don't know what's going on.
Also, the view count on YouTube was lower than the actual number of people that took the quiz. So that also a sign. And the score on the quizzes, not where we wanted them. So what we're going to do, we're going to do something called Edu-Puzzle this week. You'll see as we get into watching the video this week. So let's get into our guided note system. What you see on the board here, this is what, for every unit, what our notes will look like. On the board will be notes that are completely filled in. These are called the teacher's copy. And they will be on the board, like I said, completely filled in. And you will have something called the student copy. And you will see some that have words that are blank, or they will have an underlined section. And every time you see a place that has a line like this, that is where you are going to go and fill in a section. Ms. Vanoy, if you will come over and actually change the slides for us, that would actually be very helpful. Some of you have Ms. Vanoy in C3. She's going to help us with this presentation. So,
and guys, if you feel like we're going too fast that you can't type in the blanks as we're going, feel free. Pause the video, type the word, and then push play again. There's no shame in having to pause it because it takes you a second to type it out.
So me and Ms. Atala are going to go back and forth. I'll do 1, she does 2, and back and forth. So rule number 1, here is how we do these notes. We'll do the same in person. We'll do the same through virtually. So rule number 1, fill in all blanks. You see on the board, I have it underlined in bold. Blanks on your student copy, it is just an underlined empty slot. That is where you're going to type in the word blanks at this point. So pause the video if you need an extra time, like Ms. Atala said, or I will give you just a few seconds to type it in as I keep talking, because I've said a lot of words while you have had time to type.
All right, and then rule 2. make sure that you are paying close attention to what slide we're on, because if we're on slide 4 but you're still on slide 2, you're going to get really lost. That's why you have to make sure, if you need extra time, you pause the video and you get caught up, and that you're not trying to do 2 different slides at one time.
And a good way to do that is while you're viewing your slide in the middle, on the left-hand side of your screen, you will see a stack of slides, and it will have a little number in the corner of what number slide you're on, and in the bottom right. And then rule number 3, follow all the rules. This is a good life lesson, not just a guided notes lesson, but a life lesson.
Arguably the most important rule out of all 3 of them.
I see what she did, and that is true, yes. So follow the rules. So that is simply how you do the guided notes. This is going to keep you on task now and when we're back in school.
Yes.
So, Ms. Vinoy, go hit the next one, please. And so, we are going to jump in. We are going to be doing main ideas. When you break these down, we have big ideas, then we have main ideas. We're going to read the first big idea, and we're going to do main idea 1 and main idea 2. And just like last time, we're going to supplement this discussion with some YouTube videos with it, and we will end with some questions that we will do with this lesson. So I will let Ms. Atala go ahead and start with the big idea.
And this is something, if you do not watch this video, you are not going to do well on the questions. But I guess if you're watching this video, then you're watching it. And if you do bad on the questions, it's probably because you didn't watch this, which isn't helpful because you didn't watch it. Anyway, so, big idea. Prehistoric people learned how to adapt to their environment. They learned how to make simple tools such as fire and how to use language.
All right, so we're gonna how are we going to get to this big idea? So think of your main ideas as sort of like the legs of the table of how it supports this big idea. So we're going to look at 2 of these legs to this table today. One is that scientists study the remains of early humans to learn about this prehistory, and that hominids and early humans, they first appeared in Africa many, many years ago. Now, not everyone believes the same things about the how long ago these early humans were first appeared, but this is one theory about when these early humans and early hominids first appeared.
And we want to really emphasize that the amount of years ago isn't important for what we're teaching. It's more important that you learn the information. We're not going to quiz you over how many millions or how many thousands of years ago the earth was made or anything like that. Our main objective is just that you understand the history of the first peoples.
Yes. All right, next slide, please. So the main idea, number 1, here's your first key word. And if you remember back to Tuesday's lesson, prehistory is one of our vocabulary words. So scientists study the remains of early humans to learn about prehistory. So what is prehistory? You should be typing in as we go. To study prehistory, or simply the time before writing, historians rely on the work of archaeologists and anthropologists. So what are some of these findings that these archaeologists and anthropologists found, Ms. Atala?
Well, Mary and Louis Leakey found bones of early ancestors of humans called hominids, which is also one of your vocabulary words, in East Africa. So a hominid is a human or other creature that walked upright. The hominid that was, the next one, Lucy was a hominid that was found by Donald Johanson.
Yes, Johanson.
Thank you. And tests showed that she lived more than 3 million years ago. Now again, if you don't believe the earth was created 3 million years ago, that's not what's important. What's important is that we found Lucy. Well, we didn't find Lucy. Donald did.
I was there in spirit.
Yes. I don't think either of us were alive when she was found, but we could be wrong. Tim White found an even older remain from as long as 4.4 million years ago.
And so on the next slide, Mr. Norton. So here's a picture on your slide. It's a little easier to see than it is here. But here is Donald Johanson looking into the eyes of, not the eyes, obviously, but the skull of Lucy. And you see that the size of the skull is much smaller. So what can we think? Well, you're not here to answer. If we were in person, you would raise your, and I would say, what can we think about the age of this of the Lucy? Yes, thank you. What can we find of the what would the age of this the remains probably be? Would it be an older person or a younger person? And you would raise your hand and say, Mr. Simpson, Mr. Simpson. I think it's a younger person because of the size of the remains. Yes. So we would be interactive and answering questions back and forth if we were in person. But since we're not, you're going to do it. Just listen to me ramble about it for about 30 seconds. So on the left-hand side, you see, and overall, they didn't find every single bone of Lucy, but they found enough to know about her and find out
that she walked upright, that she was a hominid.
Yes, and you're going to watch a short video that we're going to link in to your presentation. Next slide, Ms. Minoy. So you see here on the left-hand side is a human. Human. In the middle is Lucy, and the right side is a chimpanzee.
Yeah. So I believe these are like your hip bones, and then obviously your skull.
All right. And then again, you will watch this video. It will also be linked in your agenda, just to make sure you see it in multiple places and can't say you did not see it. Next slide, please. All right, go ahead and get us with main idea 2.
All right, main idea 2. Hominids and early humans first appeared in East Africa millions of years ago.
All right, so your second word should be hominids, and you should be typing that in as we go through. They appeared, again, 3 million years ago, as Ms. Satala said about the years. Now, a group of hominids first appeared called Homo erectus, or upright man, about 1.5 million years ago. And many scientists think that these modern humans appeared about 200,000 years ago. And we're going to see here in a second about how they progress and how things, when they progress, their brains progressed. And when their brains progressed, so do inventions, and so do all the things that we have progressed.
And their lifespan.
Yes, so we see 3 main groups. We start with Homo habilis, and each one has their own sort of nickname and quotes that you're going to write in. And for Homo habilis, think of handyman. So when you think of a handyman or Homo habilis, think of how they became more like humans over time. Think about how they were found in the 1960s by, again, Louis Leakey, and they are very closely related to humans.
All right, the next one is Homo erectus, or the upright man. Scientists believe they walked completely upright, just like modern people. Scientists also believe that they knew how to control fire. Now, we don't mean this in like they're an avatar firebender. We mean this more of we think that they were able to start fires using different rocks and that kind of stuff, not that they are firebenders.
And then lastly, the most important to us is Homo sapiens, the wise man, because that is the group we belong to today. So again, Homo habilis, handyman; Homo erectus, upright man; Homo sapiens, wise man. Next slide, please. And then lastly, you're going to see this on your screen. We're not going to go through every single detail, but the 4 major groups of hominids, they appeared in Africa between 5 million years to 200,000 years ago, and each one, over time, they became more and more advanced as the years went on. And what happens when they become more and more advanced? That means good things for us, because we're going to get the results of the advancements. So you start out with Australopithecus, and then you're going to start out, they're just starting to walk upright, and you move on to the Homo habilis, and you start to see, they're just starting out. They're kind of the early ones. They had just like these big old rocks. They're just using them for their stone choppers. Then you get to the Homo erectus. They're starting to figure things out. They're starting to sharpen them, use them for a hand axe. They're starting to use fire for things. And then finally you get to Homo sapiens with us. They're sharpening their knives. They're developing language to communicate. That's where we're at today. So you see the progression, the brain's getting bigger. They're starting to use tools. They're starting to use language. And so just in this one lesson, this one 15-minute lesson, you're seeing major progression in the humans, the Homo sapien habilis erectus Australopithecus.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really impressed with Mr. Simpson's pronunciation because I was hoping he was not gonna call on me to say that first one, and he said it, so I am very thankful. So if you're at home and you're well, obviously you're at home, but when you're going, I have no idea how to say that one, it's okay. I wasn't either. I was just gonna fake it till I make it.
All right, I believe that's our last slide. So that is the slide we are going to stop on for today. We're going to pick back up next time with main idea 3. So, do you have any final parting words for Prehistory Lesson 1, Miss Atala?
I would say, don't get hung up on the amount of years and all of that, because in the grand scheme of this lesson, that's really not that important. But we do want you to know, like, and we can even see this in modern day, like, people change, which is what evolving means. Like, people are changing, they're improving. So that's what we're going to see when we look at prehistory, that people are constantly trying to be better, to increase their lifespan, or just to make life easier.
And do your best on the quiz. Stay in school. Bye.